وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحديث السابع والعشرون. حدثنا أبو بكر محمد بن عبد الله بن العربي المعافري. This is different person, To the best of my knowledge, he doesn't have direct contact with the Sheikh al-Akbar. There should be a person, in the intermediate, perhaps this by ijaza or by bypassing a person. حدثنا يونس بن يحيى حدثنا أبو الوقت السجدي حدثنا عبد الأعلى بن عبد الواحد حدثنا إسماعيل بن إبراهيم حدثنا أحمد بن حسنوي حدثنا حسين بن إدريس عن عثمان بن أبي شيبة عن جرير عن الأعمش عن أبي صالح عن أبي هريرة قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال الله عز وجل أنا عند ظن عبدي بي وأنا معه حيث يذكرني إن ذكرني في نفسه ذكرته في نفسي وإن ذكرني في ملأ ذكرته في ملأ خير منه وإن تقرب مني شبرا تقربت إليه ذراعا وإن تقرب إلي ذراعا تقربت إليه باعا وإن أتاني يمشي أتيته هروله.
27th Hadith. According to Abu Hurairah, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, I am present in my servant's thought of me, and I am with him when he remembers me. If he mentions me in his self, I mention him in myself. And if he mentions me in an assembly, I mention him in a better assembly than that. If he approaches me by a hand's breadth, I draw near to him by an arm's length. And if he draws near to me by an arm's length, I draw near to him by a fathom. If he comes to me walking, I come to him running.
This hadith is going to improve my knowledge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Almighty, the Great One, is according to my think and thought about Him. Okay, and this by itself, it has two components. Firstly, the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and how achievable and close to us. Secondly, it tells me about my limitation. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is absolute, it's not going to be known by me. I'm too limited in all of my activities and skills, to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why it has been termed, by some shuyukh, مَا عَرَفَ اللَّهِ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. No one did know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one did know the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why you have the famous Imam Sayyidina Shafi'i. He used to say, آمنت بالله على مراد الله. I believe in Allah according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is very great wording, to have such a thing, Why? Because we feel ourselves that we are describing, we are giving something to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet we are quite deficient and we are quite low. And here, in this أنا عند ظن عبدي بي, that's mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of His majesty, and being almighty, is going to present Himself to be according to me, which is, in another way, I'm going to say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala initiated this relation, with your people, before having this initiated from your side, In another way, you only need to open your channel with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything has been connected, everything has been working, except yourself. You are not good for yourself. You are really very bad, for yourself, and you should improve yourself, to open that particular channel with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he mentioned the matter of remembrance. If I remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who am I? I am a person, okay? I may be famous in my time, I may not be famous in my time, okay? I'm going to live my own life, and then I'm going to die. Who is Allah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all humankind, the first message or the first thing heard, by them, was, what was it? Alastu bi rabbikum. By everyone. Okay? And this wording, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to carry on till the hereafter and after the hereafter. Okay? The people of hellfire, they are going to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on one occasion. The people of heaven, again, same story. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to initiate them, Whenever anyone, enter his place, in the heaven, a letter comes to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Arabic, من الحي الذي لا يموت إلى الحي الذي لا يموت. إني أقول الأشياء كن فيكون جعلتك تقول الأشياء كن فيكون. This is a letter from the alive that never died to the alive that never died. For sure, there's significant. You did not become Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You're still a servant, you're still a slave to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But here, you have been given something, in that great place, which beyond your imagination. You speak with the physician, it's impossible. Even the Prophet ﷺ, he said about certain items, you have the cure of everything except this, This is something, which is available, in this life, It is not, as I said before, this is a rule governing us, but it's not a rule, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's side at all. Okay, that's why this is the way the letter has been addressed, You are not Lord, you will never become a Lord, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted you with some description that even to imagine it, it was impossible for you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted you with another specialty or skill. I do say kun, and it's going to be as such, right away, and I enabled those people of heaven to have the same attitude, or the same action to say kun, and it's going to be available right away. Okay, and what I'm trying to say, in this life, elsewhere, in the beginning, toward the end, all of this matter, you are going to find the initiation come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though He wants you to direct yourself, to start from your side, That's why He said, "Man taqarraba ilay shibran." This I look at it, as start from your side, For sure, it's going to be limited. It's going to be deficient. It's going to be according to our skills, تقربت إليه ذراعا وتقرب إليه ذراعا تقربت إليه باعا. Again, you are going to find. Not doubling, in all aspects, of quality, are going to feel the difference, of it, and how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gets closer to you. And in one of these narration, Wallahu bi kulli khayrin asra. Okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be faster, more quick than yourself, in any matter of goodness, toward yourself. And that's why you should have those high thoughts, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should have your practice according to your thoughts, and you should have your life according to your practice. Okay? All of these items, it comes one after another, and I have black view, I see the Muslim nowadays, they are deficient, on all of these aspects, I would rather say, I'm sorry about this, such a subject, is considered prohibited or haram to speak up, about it nowadays, I feel it myself that, you may agree with me or disagree, this is the most important thing for Muslim nowadays. And it has been refrained from many Muslims. Many Muslims, they think this is kufr. The other one, they may not think it's a kufr, but they think this is sophisticated thing, just needed for certain shuyukh. Yet the Prophet ﷺ, as I said, in the introduction, he said, "Ahibullah bi kulli qulubikum," and he has 2 khutbah of Jum'ah, trying to make the audience, much more familiar, much more knowledgeable in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, I'm not telling you about the way, I'm not telling you about how to achieve this, but just start with me, Start by feeling that this is the most important, the most critical point in my life. And I think so. Why? Because your life is not going to last forever. You have very short period of time, okay? When you initiate such a thing, from your side, it's going to be according to you, according to this hadith, the response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be according to Him, not according to you. And you see how lucky, how rich, how good, how better off you are going to be when you have such an attitude toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Move to next hadith. الحديث الثامن والعشرون حدثنا محمد القاسم حدثنا عمر بن عبد المجيد حدثنا أبو القاسم بن سهل الهروي حدثنا عبد العزيز محمد الترياقي حدثنا عبد الجبار محمد حدثنا أبو العباس محمد بن أحمد. This is Al-Mahbubi, the main or the most famous narrator of Sunan Tirmizi. حدثنا محمد عيسى الترمذي. This is the famous Tirmizi of the author of the Sunan. حدثنا عبد الله بن إسحاق الجوهري حدثنا أبو عاصم حدثنا كثير بن فؤاد حدثنا سعيد بن عبيد قال سمعت بكر بن عبد الله يقول سمعت أنس مالك قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله عز وجل يا ابن آدم إنك ما دعوتني ورجوتني غفرت لك على ما كان فيك ولا أبالي. يا ابن آدم لو بلغت ذنوبك عنان السماء ثم استغفرتني غفرت لك ولا أبالي. يا ابن آدم إنك لو أتيتني بقراب الأرض خطايا ثم لقيتني لا تشرك بي شيئا لأتيتك بقرابها مغفرة. هذا حديث حسن غريب.
28th Hadith. According to Anas ibn Malik, the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, God, ever mighty and majestic in He, said, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, O child of Adam, as long as you beseech me and hope for me, I shall forgive you whatever you have done, without minding in the slightest. O child of Adam, were your sins to reach up to the clouds of heaven, and then you asked forgiveness of me, I should forgive you, without minding in the slightest. O child of Adam, even if you were to bring me enough sins to fill the earth, but then you met me without associating anything with me, I should bring to you the self-same measure of forgiveness.
We have long explanation of this particular hadith. I'm going to highlight your duty in it. Okay? What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want from you? These are the 4 items that I'm going to highlight. What did He say? Da'awtani. This first one. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Have plenty of dua. Frequent of dua. Okay? You don't know dua? Okay. Go to the books of Sunnah Nabawi al-Musharrafa and look how the Prophet ﷺ used to make dua. Okay? Make the same dua. I should highlight some of the authors, of hadith. They are going to put special section, in their books, for isti'adha. I hardly see anyone making isti'adha nowadays, okay? Isti'adha is a significant portion of dua that we should practice it, okay? We start with أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اللهم أعوذك من الكسل والبخل والهرم وأعوذك من سوء الخلق اللهم أعوذك من عذاب النار. All those matter of to seek shelter, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or protection from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are quite important for me, for my understanding as I read the prophetic hadith. It's significant portion of our beloved Prophet, practice, in his dua to make isti'adha. Isti'adha is, it's not all, but it contains a significant portion. Why it's important in our time? It's important in all times, but I feel it's much more important in our time because we have significant lack of dua in general, and we have significant lack of isti'adha. The Prophet ﷺ did say, I think this is sound hadith, that a time come on my community, no one is going to survive except the one who make dua the way the drowning person make dua. يأتي على أمتي زمان لا ينجو إلا من دعا كدعاء الغريق. I would like, perhaps I don't have that experience, I would like from myself, I would like from the other to feel the danger surrounding circumstances, to seek shelter and help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to feel yourself you are about to be drowned, with these matters. I'm sorry to tell you, for us, this great and massive opening, in eating, drinking, having everything easy, is going to make us, forgetting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's going to make us just have it, for those who are good, among us, have it out of luxury, and making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't feel inside myself the need to it. I don't feel that I'm about to be gone away or whatever, yet we have around us and inside ourselves and in our actions many of those threatening points. The way we live, the way we speak, the way we ask, all of them, they are far away of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They don't belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We call ourselves, Muslim. I believe you are Muslim, but the whole behavior is completely of the opposite matter, And such a person, even if he enters the heaven, entering the heaven for me is very great one, Don't misunderstand me, But he's going to be as such, in the heaven, When I look at the heaven, that one person, busy eating and the other one busy sitting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No comparison. For me, no comparison. Wassalamu alaikum. Okay? This is the first one, dua. Second one, rajawtani. Raja. You should have hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This raja is one of the main components, in your life. That's why you may pile significant amount of verses, in the Holy Quran speaking about raja. You may pile in the similar way or close to it, a pile, of verses, make you fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You want it from a hadith? What in my mind, I'm not telling you this is the only one, You have Riyadh al-Salihin, Imam al-Nawawi, he has a very long chapter speaking about hoping in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You have very long chapter next to it, I think, speaking about fearing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This point was mentioned, by Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq when he was about to die. When he gave his advice to Sayyidina Umar al-Khattab, he said, did not you see that in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala book that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala joined the hope and the fearing verses to make the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hoping and fearing? What I understand from that statement from Sayyidina Abu Bakr, firstly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala means to make you hope and fear at the same time. Secondly, He did use it in His Holy Quran, subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was used, in the prophetic tradition, the way I explained, the Imam Nawawi has done it, and I should find its place, inside myself. This idea just come to my mind. How? Firstly, I should be too happy, about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I should be one of the happiest, in this life. Secondly, I should practice in my life crying tears to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did mention in many different verses in the Quran that whenever they, I'm not telling you all of ayat al-sujud, but most of ayat al-sujud that we have sajda in it, you are going to have the description that those people, whenever they hear the wording of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll start crying and make prostration. I'm sorry to tell you, I'm speaking about myself, not about anyone else, Where yes, when we have this ayat al-sajda, we are going to recite it and we are going to perform prostration. I feel this is not meant, in this verse. What it means, the whole wording of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is 30 different juzr, not one verse, okay? And I feel myself lacking to cry to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have the physical and spiritual prostration, because you have physical and The physical prostration, it's limited. Because you should have the wudu, you should have satar awra, you should direct yourself to the qibla. There's certain times, according to some madhab, that you are prohibited of making sujood or whatever. Whereas to have your heart down, humble to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, broken to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you may have it all the time. There is no limitation about it. You don't need wudu for it, you don't need time, you don't need to direct the qibla. When I speak, about such an items and such an activity, I feel myself, I'm too poor. Okay, I'm too poor. I don't have in my calculation, I don't have in my account, such a thing, that we are speaking about. Then the third item, here, istighfar. ثم استغفرتني غفرت لك. We need a lot of istighfar. Why we need it much more? Because we have humum much more than our parents, okay? We have a concern about certain matters. We have something bother us, all the time, make us not sleeping or nervous or having some sedation or whatever in that regard. We are abuser, of all of these matters, Okay, why? For many reasons, I'm not going to discuss them, but one of the reasons because of the sins that we commit. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ قال من لزم الاستغفار جعل الله له من كل هم فرجا ومخرجا. Whoever stick himself to istighfar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give him the relief from any concern and anything or an exit of it, whatever he has. And here, regardless, when you have this message come directly from you, to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He said, ثُمَّ اسْتَغْفَرْتَنِي غَفَرْتُ لَكَ. If I'm going to spend all of my life, making istighfar, I should feel myself I'm quite deficient, I did not do it the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants me to do it. Okay. Then the very last point, which is again important, which I'm sorry to tell you, many of the Muslims nowadays, they don't feel it that important. Don't ascribe any associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are going to see all people, they are the same. Muslim and non-Muslim the same. They are going to enter the heaven all together. So what's the difference? No difference. We are all humankind. We are going to not we are. Some of these people, they are going to share, they think, they are going to share heaven, with the others, or whatever. Here, this is the message given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are going to meet me without ascribing any associate to me, I'm going to do so and so. So these are our duty, that not the outcome given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. About our duty, let me be thorough about it. I have a lot of doubts about my work, about my quality, about this or about that. About the outcome from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm quite confident. I have not even the most trivial, question about it. It's going to be as I know, much more than my expectation. If you expect from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so and so, you are going to have much superior. Why? I'm going to explain it from logical way, okay? Because you are going to have your thought according to your skills, and that one is going to be according to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have learned, from the Holy Quran, from Aqidah book, that the attributes of Allah, they are quite perfect. And this is part of His attributes subhanahu wa ta'ala. This part of His action. So I have no doubt, not even a trivial doubt that this is going to be the most perfect one, But to be honest with you, I have piles and piles of doubt about myself, about my duty, about my work, about my skills, and you name it. And that's why all of us, all the time, we need to say to Allah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. I'm not telling you to quit or not do anything. No, do you work hard, do your duties, okay? Seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Move to next hadith. الحديث التاسع والعشرون. حدثنا أحمد محمد بن أحمد عن حسين بن علي الطبري عن عبد الغافر الفارسي عن الجلودي عن ابن سفيان عن مسلم بن الحجاج عن يحيى بن يحيى عن مالك عن صالح بن كيسان عن عبيد الله بن عبد الله بن عتبة عن زيد بن خالد الجهني قال صلى بنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم صلاة الصبح بالحديبية في إثر سماء كانت من الليل فلما انصرف أقبل على الناس فقال هل تدرون ماذا قال ربكم؟ قالوا الله ورسوله أعلم. قال, you see, put a lot of lines here. You have a person telling you what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say overnight. This is, if I don't believe in it, you know, the wolf in the surrounding of Medina, when he starts speaking with the shepherd, subhanallah, wolf speaks. He said, should I tell you about something more stranger than this? You have between the labatayn, between the two areas, of Medina, you have a person speaking, about the unseen, in the past and in the future. You see, you feel it? ماذا قال ربكم الليلة يا لطيف? Who am I, to know what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what did my Lord, say tonight, Who am I? I'm nothing. I don't deserve this, You see how great is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You see how great is the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? You see why you should love Allah? Why you should love the messenger? You see why you should love your religion and whatever? I'm going to carry on, sorry, because I changed the habit here. قالوا الله ورسوله أعلم قال أصبح من عبادي مؤمن بي وكافر فأما من قال مطرنا بفضل الله ورحمته فذلك مؤمن بي وكافر بالكوكب وأما من قال مطرنا بنوء كذا وكذا فذلك كافر بي ومؤمن بالكوكب.
29th Hadith. Zayd ibn Khalid al-Juhani reported that the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, performed the early morning prayer in our company at Hudaybiyah after it had rained during the night. When he had finished, he turned towards the people and asked, "Do you know what your Lord has said?" They replied, "God and his messenger know best." He said, "God says, 2 of my servants arise in the morning, one who believes in me and one who does not believe in me. As for the one who says, 'It has rained by the blessing and mercy of God,' this one believes in me and not in the stars. As for the one who says, 'It has rained because of such and such a star,' that one does not believe in me, but believes in the stars."
Again, we have a problem. We have a lot of problems. we have a real problem here. Why? Because you have this physical matter come. We are highly educated. We know that this has come by the wind, and then you have the humidity. Then I don't know, about this business, The point that I hate here, to forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to forget the unseen or the spiritual factor of it, You as a Muslim, as you have this company inside yourself, as a physical body and soul, you should look at everything, in the universe in the same pattern. In the pattern that no problem of studying the physical points there, but please don't forget the spiritual one. Don't forget the unseen one. The best resource I give you for this, is the Holy Quran. You have the group start by Alif Lam Ra. These surahs in very smart way is going to make anyone, understand those events that we see nowadays. Do you experience it? Yes. I'm going to be the happiest person, at night. Then I'm going to be the most sad one, in the morning. I don't know the reason. Perhaps I have a dream. Okay? What's about this dream? This has nothing to do with the physical matter that I live for. Okay? This is an example of it. We live it. We experience it. Okay? We try to run away of it, We try to ignore it sometimes or deny it or say this is incredible or this is unbelievable or this is extraordinary or this is not, has no explanation according to our modern science or whatever. Whereas all of these points that we are speaking about, you have an answer for them here, okay? I'm going to give you one example about great prophet, How did he deal with these factors, that there's in the group of Alif Lam Ra, you have Surah Ibrahim. Who is Ibrahim? Ibrahim is a person who was thrown to the fire and did not burn. Can you believe it? Does it fit your physical rules? And what's about Ibrahim? Again, he applied the knife to the throat of his son, did not cut. Do you have another story? Yes? Perhaps my expectation, you have a lot of stories, of it. But I'm quite sure about 3 of them. What is the third one? He left the woman, and her son, in the desert. I think most of us, haven't seen the desert, in its reality. He left them there. Anyone who is going to look at them, he will say eventually within a few hours they are going to vanish completely. What did it happen? You observe it in the TV up till now, You have thousands, you have sometimes millions of people, They come for these steps, of the woman, and her son, there. Which is unbelievable. And in this particular surah, Surah Ibrahim, this never mentioned elsewhere in the Quran. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? وَأُدْخِلَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ جَنَّاتٍ تَجْرِي مِن تَحْتِهَا الْأَنْهَارُ خَالِدِينَ فِيهَا. What? بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِمْ. Never mentioned in the whole Quran except by the permission of Allah. Okay? You have rules, you have physical, you have chemical, you have medical, you have whatever, rules. All of them, please don't forget, by the permission of Allah. Even to stay in heaven, خالدين فيها بإذن ربهم. Not by that rule, no, بإذن ربهم. You, everyone, we don't have the capacity, to change the rules. These rules, highly respected by me, the physical, they have been done. They have been established for me in this earth. Firstly, because I am the master of this earth, إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. And secondly, to have them work according to their rules that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala established. And thirdly, they should be a teller to me that there is Allah behind them. We say Allah is musabbib al-asbab. Okay? All of these reasons, they have some great power, behind them called Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you see, in such trivial, I think in such a country, it may happen frequently, to have the rain. You see this commentary from the Prophet ﷺ. He said, even this trivial matter, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a comment, about it. What comment? For us it's quite dangerous. Either believer or non-believer. Either heaven or hellfire. By what? By only comment, you mentioned, The one who is going to build everything, of the data that he have, he may be non-believer. The one who, even though he may work in these data, but his heart is completely connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is going to be believer. You see? Here, you may have it from outside as the same attitude, but you have from inside significant change. Almost it's similar to what I have told you yesterday. You have two brothers, in the time of the Prophet, they go to pray, behind the Prophet ﷺ. One of them is great companion and the other one is hypocritic. When you look at this comparison, really, my mind stopped working, at this. I cannot even think about it. And this is, they have the same physical action, they have everything, I don't know anything, but you have a Lord, His messenger did tell you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't look to your body or shape. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look to your heart. See? Look to the heart. And by this, even though we sit in the same tables, in the same hall or whatever, we are not equal to each other. And this is taken for everything. It's taken for the prayer. Yes, the prayer. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? The one may pray, he have half reward. Or 1/3. Or 1/4. Or 1/5. Or 1/6. Or 1/7, or 1/8, or 1/9, or 1/10. Alhamdulillah, the Prophet stopped there. Perhaps if you speak about my prayer or someone else's prayer, you may go for 20s and 40s and you name it. See, here the Prophet ﷺ specifically, by number, telling you that the reward is going to be according to the soul, the spiritual factor, the unseen factor, your heart, your intention, your khushu', your ruku', your sujood, that has been mentioned in some hadith, and we are going to have massive difference, even though we have the same prayer, but we don't have the same outcome of such a prayer. And as this applicable, for the most important deed in our life, it's applicable to all our actions, in this life. Some of us, they are going to be rewarded even when they go to the toilet. The other one, they may not be rewarded as such even during their prayer. Why? Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ, he did say in one hadith, وَهَلِ الدِّينُ إِلَّا الْحُبُّ فِي اللَّهِ وَالدُّرُوبُ. Yani here, the matter of love, the matter of hatred, it has a lot to do. Okay? Besides the good deeds that you have and you need. Move to next hadith. حديث 30 حدثنا زكي بن أبي بكر العراقي عن أبي الفتح محمد مقري عن علي بن محمد عن أحمد بن علي بن حسنوي عن مسلم عن سعيد بن منصور أبي كامل الجحدري عن أبي عوانة عن قتادة عن يونس بن جبير عن رقاشي عن أبي موسى الأشعري الحديث وفيه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وإذا قال يعني الإمام سمع الله لمن حمده فقولوا اللهم ربنا لك الحمد يسمع الله لكم فإن الله تبارك وتعالى قال على لسان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سمع الله لمن حمده. الحديث في قلبي من سند هذا الحديث شيء والذي يصح عندي فيه ما حدثنا محمد بن علي عن أبي طاهر السلفي عن الطبري عن فارسي عن جلودي عن ابن سفيان عن مسلم الإسناد بتاعه هذا هو الذي أعول عليه.
30th Hadith. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari reported a hadith in which it is mentioned that the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, said, and when the Imam says during the prayer, God hears him who praises him, then say, O God, our Lord, to you be praised, so that God hears you. For indeed God, ever blessed and exalted is He, said through the mouth of His Prophet, God hears him who praises him.
Here the author, he brought two chains, for this particular hadith, Why did he bring the two chains, We may ask ourselves, this point, this question, and this is just to tell us that there is long one and short one. He put the short one, even though he has a lot of doubt about it, then he put the long one. Second, this hadith may not be considered as hadith Qudsi by many persons. Why did the Shaykh here mention it as hadith Qudsi? Because we tend to forget this point, You see, if I look at the guaranteed matter of my life, I hardly find them, except in the my religion. Even when you say when you add to one, is equal to 2, it's more theoretical, than practical. Okay, and you name it. You have many of those ideas, many of these theories. They are theoretical, the one is confirmed. Whereas in practice, I used to be in the school, I used to be, and they told us all of these physical rules. They are put as if you are in the vacuum area. That's means there's no air. Is this practical? For me, it's not practical. Okay. For me, it's impractical. Perhaps the more experienced person, he may answer me, for this. But we have many of these questions. Here, you have guarantee when you have the prayer and you are about, or you did say رَبَّنَا لَكَ الْحَمْدِ, you have the answer coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His messenger. سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَ. Your hamd, your praise to Allah has been accepted. Okay, that's why this has been highlighted by some scholars. He told us him, about a companion and other person. He said that companion, did he pray behind the Prophet ﷺ? And the Prophet did say, سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَهُ. You see, here you have the confirmation of that praise coming by the tongue of the Prophet ﷺ. And he showed the importance of being that presence, over the others, by only سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَهُ. None by anything else, and he showed the importance, the preference of that particular person over the other, just because he attended one prayer behind the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet in that particular prayer, he did say, سَمِعَ اللَّهُ لِمَنْ حَمِدَهُ. We, all of us, without exception, we live in the guarantee. We have many things guaranteed, in our life. Perhaps it's better for us, as shaky people, as we trust the physical matters, not much more than the spiritual thing, not to know about it. But we have now you have what we call it life insurance. Okay, I'm not giving hukum shar'i here. Okay, you have life insurance. Do you have in the Quran life insurance? You have it. وليخشى الذين لو تركوا من خلفهم ذرية ضعافا خافوا عليهم فليتقوا الله وليقولوا قولا. If you are concerned about your offspring, you should be muttaqi فليتقوا الله, and be straight in your statement and speech. I look at it as life insurance. No, my friend, don't tell me about those issues, of belief or whatever. Tell me about some current currency, I want to use now. This is our problem, okay? One time the Prophet ﷺ was asked about abstinence, which is zahada, zuhud. He said abstinence is not to cut down, in eating and drinking. No. Abstinence to be much more confident about whatever in the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hand than your hand is. See? This is the real abstinence. Imam al-Ghazali did give example of it. He said, if you are given the choice, either we give you one golden coin, in the dream, or one silver coin, in the awake state. What's your answer is going to be? Mine and most of the people, no, give me one silver coin, in the awake state. Don't give me that golden coin, in the dream, because I'm not going to spend it. He said, Imam al-Ghazali did say, then when you compare this dunya and the akhirah, it's not like this. It's like a silver coin, in the dream, and golden coin, in the awake state. This is the comparison, between whatever you deal with and whatever you have the promise, or you have the attribute, or you have the actions, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala side. Okay? And that's why, for me, not for everyone, for me, I should rearrange, the whole idea, the whole actions, in my life. I should have format, and it should erase and take away all of the things that I have built, on, and have different attitude toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Move to Hadith الحادي والثلاثون. حدثنا غير واحد عن شريح محمد الوعيني عن علي بن أحمد الفارسي عن عبد الله بن يوسف عن أحمد بن فتح عن عبد الوهاب بن عيسى عن أحمد بن علي عن أحمد محمد عن مسلم عن إسحاق بن إبراهيم عن ابن عيينة عن العلاء عن أبيه عن أبي هريرة قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول قال الله عز وجل قسمت الصلاة بيني وبين عبدي نصفين ولعبدي ما سأل فإذا قال العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين قال الله عز وجل حمدني عبدي وإذا قال الرحمن الرحيم قال الله عز وجل أثنى علي عبدي وإذا قال مالك يوم الدين قال مجدني عبدي وقال مرة فوض إلي عبدي فإذا قال إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين قال هذا بيني وبين عبدي ولعبدي ما سأل فإذا قال اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين قال هذا لعبدي ولعبدي ما سأل.
31st Hadith, Abu Hurairah said, I heard the Messenger of God, may God give him blessings and peace, say, God, ever mighty and majestic is He, says, I have divided the prayer into two halves between me and my servant, and my servant shall have that for which he asks. When the servant says, Praise be to God, Lord of the universes, God says, My servant has praised me. When he says, the all-compassionate, the most merciful, God says, My servant has repeated my praises. When he says, Sovereign King of the day of judgment, God says, My servant has glorified me. And once the prophet said, My servant has given himself over to me. When he says, It is you whom we adore, and it is you whom we ask for help, God says, This is between me and my servant shall have that for which he asks. When he says, Guide us along the straight path, the path of those to whom you have bestowed your favor, not of those who have incurred wrath, nor of those who go astray, God says, This belongs to my servant, and my servant shall have that for which he asks.
To share time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is beyond my imagination, beyond my limit. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it available to me and to everyone. Okay, this is great matter, If this has been established for me before my presence. This tell me, in indirect way, how great, how kind, how merciful is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to me. It may tell me, how bad, how deficient, how ugly am I, or I am toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Here, I speak about prayer, When you have the wudu and you face the qibla, as the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in hadith, you are facing Allah. According to this hadith, when you start speaking, for sure your word doesn't deserve to be mentioned. You speak by the wording of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you have, for each sentence or each verse, you have a response from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you are going to be in the closest state to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while you are making prostration. Then you are going to have this at-tahiyyat as narrated in some book, this is the highest conversation took place between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger, you are going to have it, during your prayer, And that's why it has been termed, as as-salatu mi'rajul mu'min. This is your mi'raj, This is I'm not telling you that we are going to have it physically, we are going to ascend, to heaven or whatever, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is available for you. All of these matters, it has some physical, apparent matter, when anyone look at it, he's not going to be convinced, or some may be convinced, about it, and it has some hidden matter. And I would like from my sense, from my side and from myself, to have this trust, this confidence in whatever I do, even when I eat and drink, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make blessing there. Okay, and this has been highlighted by the Prophet. He did say that a person dreamt about a person telling him, go to so and so place, and get 100 dirham. This person is quite wise. What did he say? Any barakah there? Any blessing? He said no. Forget it. The morning he did not go there. Okay. Next night, he did see another person go to another place, not the same place, and get 100 dirhams there. He said, any barakah? No barakah. Forget it. In the same night, did see a third person telling him, go to so and so place, and there is 1 dirham. Not 100, 1 dirham. Any barakah? Yes. Right away, when he wake up in the morning, he went there, and got that dirham. Yeah, see, I don't care about barakah. Okay, you go and take the barakah. We want money, give me money. Okay, this money, you may have yourself or one of the family member get sick, and you are going to pay 10 times, it. Here in US, I used to work, in one hospital, and one of my friends was radiologist. How did he take his position? He said the previous boss or whoever, he wanted to retire, and he collected massive amount of money, put them in the bank or wherever, and he felt that this is enough for him and it's time to retire. The person telling me, this my friend, he said he had a son, that person, who made him, spend the whole money, get out of everything, and is left without anything. And really he is in a bad shape. He would like to return back to his position as the head of radiology, which is, I think it's impossible. I don't know the complete of this story, but this amazed me a lot, because we tend to look at some materialistic matter, We don't care about blessing. When the Prophet ﷺ said, as-suhuru barakah, okay, even if you are tired, wake up, and eat something, to get this barakah, okay. When the Prophet ﷺ has this miracle, and he has the holy water, come from his holy hand, and the whole army in need of water. Hayya ala al-tuhuri wal-barakah. They start making wudu, and Sayyidina Abdul Mas'ud start drinking, because barakah, this is barakah, I don't care, even if no water left for anyone, I want to drink, and I want to fill my stomach, of it, Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ did say, Hayya ala tuhuri wal barakah. Okay, barakah, that's blessing here. We have diseases, we have depression, we don't care. We care that there's this substance, running in the blood, this gem come to us, But barakah, the type of food, this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it mubarak. You have the shaitan eating with you with dirty hand, or whatever, We don't care about this, And the Prophet ﷺ didn't make it physical, sometimes. A person, was observed by the Prophet ﷺ eating, without saying Bismillah. He said, do you like, to have very dirty, animal to eat with you? The Prophet ﷺ did say, much worse than this, the shaitan start eating with you. Okay, we don't care about those unseen, or these matters that we speak about them. And here, don't misunderstand me. I am not putting down the reality of the physical activity, especially the pillars, of your religion that is you are asked to do it, but try to search for the spiritual. Try to search for the unseen of it, When the Prophet ﷺ did say about prayer, half, 1/4, 1/3, and you go all the way down, it's in my understanding, by the physical activity, it's impossible to have such a significant, magnificent, change, between some person, and the other. But you are going to have much more than it, in the spiritual matter of it. And that's why we should clean our side, in this regard. I think we have 10 minutes left, and we'll leave the stage for any question, if you wish, even though we have the last session, significant portion of it is going to be about question. Go ahead.
In several hadith, Allah addresses man by saying son of Adam instead of O man. What is the significance of this?
What's the significance of saying son of Adam? This, I'm going to have the answer from my side. I may be right or wrong, okay? I take it from Surah Al-A'raf, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did mention the story of Sayyidina Adam, highly respected prophet. Okay, what did he say after it? He gave us certain advices. All of them, they start by son of Adam. Okay. The story of Sayyidina Adam has been mentioned frequently in the Quran. I haven't counted for how many times it has been mentioned. I think anything you feel is deficient, as I said, in the morning session, anything you feel it's deficient is not related to Sayyidina Adam. Sayyidina Adam is a great prophet, highly respected. But you feel the deficiency inside yourself and try to get over this problem. Anything you feel in that particular story is good thing, you should, if you have it in yourself, you should maximize it. If you don't have it in yourself, you should look for it as if you are missing something, When you miss your ring, or you miss your watch or whatever, you are going to, and they are portion, of your creation, because you are the son of Adam, and whenever you are missing some, when example of فَتَلَقَّى آدَمُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ كَلِمَاتٍ فَتَابَ عَلَيْهِ إِنَّهُ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. When I fail to have this repentance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that means I'm missing something. I'm the son of Adam. I should have it, inside myself. Yes.
Next question is asking about the end of Hadith 21. وَلَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. It's asking, is this the heart, or is this the mind, or the brain? Because now we have new technology and new knowledge that wasn't there before.
According to the new technology, the most important organ you have is the brain. According to my understanding, about our Islamic text, the most important thing is the heart. And the Prophet ﷺ did say, وَإِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ لَمُضْغَةً إِذَا صَلَحَتْ صَلَحَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ فَسَدَ الْجَسَدُ كُلُّهُ أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبُ, the heart. Okay. You have more specific explanation of it in Surah Al-Hajj, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبِ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. Okay. Al-Qulub, the hearts, which are located, in the breasts or in the chest. Did not say in the head. How can I combine the modern thought, and the Islamic, thought about it? I think this has been combined by Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib. It was narrated that he said, Al-aqlu aqlan, the intellect is two pieces. Aqlun matbu' wa aqlun masmu'. Al-aql al-masmu', that's mean what you gain from the surrounding, and this is located in the head. Okay, you are going to gain many data, and since this is the physical, activity to collect all of these matters, that's why they said this is the most important organ that you have ever. And you have aql matbu', which is in your heart. Okay. What's in your heart? I think, as Ibn Ata'illah did say, the decision maker is your heart. Okay? He said, النور له الحكم والبصير النور له الكشف والبصيرة له الحكم والقلب له الإقبال أو الإدبار. Okay? You have illumination. Where I'm going to get illumination? The Prophet ﷺ said, الصلاة نور. Some person, they told me, and we have a problem here. Some person told me that he has significant illumination because he kept his gaze away from looking to the other gender. We are in complete darkness because we don't care about this. Okay. Then, this is the first step. The second step, وَالْبَصِيرَةُ لَهَا الْحُكْمِ. We have the judgment. Okay? This judgment is going to come from your basira, from the eyes of your heart that I have spoken about, in the morning. Then, وَالْقَلْبُ لَهُ الْإِقْبَالُ الْإِدْبَارُ. This is the decision maker. It's going to say, do it or don't do it. I'm going to give physical example of it. If you enter this hall and no light on, you are going to fell down, by many of the chairs, and many of the tables, and got stuck to the curtain and here and there. Then, put the light on for you. As I said, you have laptop here, If a person did not know the laptop, is going to feel that this is like a fan, to use it, or something to be put on the chair, or calculator, or whatever, Whereas, we are not equal, in getting the maximum, of the laptop or of the computer, Those who are an expert, they will get the maximum, of it. I myself, I don't get the maximum of it, I may use it just to read some books, or search. The others use it for internet, the third, you have different qualities, different skills, you may know much better than me. Then you have the heart to make the decision of it. Am I going to use it or not? I get fed up, of computer, Today I don't like to use it. This decision is made in the heart, not in the mind. Okay. According to the Prophet ﷺ. I'm going to give you another example, and this is threatening example, When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina al-Munawwara, this is mentioned by Sayyidah Safiya. Safiya was a girl, at that particular time, yet very young girl. She became the wife of the Prophet ﷺ. She said, when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina al-Munawwara, my father and my uncle, they departed from the house in the very early time, which is complete darkness, and they returned back after Isha time, and they were completely exhausted. Usually, when I expose myself to my father and my uncle, they are going to hug me, they are going to carry me, they are going to have nice things for me. When I expose myself to them, in that particular day, they did not even pay any attention to me, as if I am not there. And I heard my uncle speaking to my father. He said, Ahu, is this the one? And her father did say, yes. If I want to apply to what I have said before, you have the nur coming because the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina al-Munawwara. You have al-Basira did good judgment because he did say, yes, this is the man. Then comes the problem. He said, مَا عِنْدُكَ بِشَأْنِهِ. What are you going to do with him? He said, I'm going to be his enemy as long as I'm alive. See, يعني here these two persons or poor person, they passed the first and the second step successfully, and they failed, you know, at the third one, because the decision made by the heart, I'm not going to follow him. I'm going to be his enemy, you know, as long as I'm alive. You got this point? So, okay, here, some people, they may say, we have heart transplant, which destroy the whole theory. No, my friend. I'm going to have it as simple as this, you know, okay? If we shed a light to this area, then I have heart transplant. Is the light is going to move with it or not? It's not going to move with it, okay? And here, when you speak about the physical bump, it's completely different story than when you speak about the illuminated heart that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put there. What's the point of having it in the chest? This is my answer, I may be right or wrong, because as this bump, you know, bring the oxygen, you know, and the nutrition to the whole body, perhaps the ahwal, you feel sometime, you know, that you have some numbness in your fingers, you know, when you have this fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you hear this verse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Perhaps, I'm not telling you, perhaps this is as it deliver, you know, the nutrition to the all aspect, you know, of the whole body. It deliver the ahwal, deliver the unseen, deliver the spiritual one. This is just the last commentary, perhaps has been changed, I don't know. One of the main side effect of heart transplant, this does not happen to everyone. It may happen to one who has the heart transplant, is to have change in his personality. And this is a syndrome, well known. You know. I don't know if this has been changed medically. You know. The way I explain it, you know, because here you have mismatch with the old bump that you have and the new one which was put. Okay, this is my answer. The answer is going to be limited according to my thought. You know, I may be right or wrong. But again, what I understand, the most important organ, you know, in Islam is the heart. I'm not speaking about this piece of meat that you have it inside your chest. We speak about the spiritual heart there, okay? The most important organ, according to the modern science, which may be overruled, you know, after 50 years or so, is the brain.
Jazakumullah khairan. This is not a question, just a request. We got several requests for people in the back to please stay quiet because it's disturbing from the class. And just so everybody knows, if there's a question that asks the Sheikh to repeat something, those aren't being asked. Everything is being recorded, so it can be seen later on YouTube. And anything regarding the introduction as well can be seen from Friday. Jazakumullah khairan.